Welcome everyone. Our today's topic is Indian women in World War II, the Air Raid Precaution Comfort Woman. This is my article that published in Indian Historical Review Journal, Volume 48, Issue 2, in the year 2021, and it is part of Sage Journal. This article speaks about the war-stricken ecology of World War II and the notable role played by Indian women as air raid precaution part. They gave their unmatched services in the air raid-prone areas and earned a name. However, they were reduced to not more than comfort women for British soldiers and officers. This is how their roles were sidelined by giving too much preference to the topics such as war, rape, abduction, crime against women. We can simply say that their role were equal important to Indian soldiers in World War II, but they are not given the due importance. If we look at the history of air raid precaution women or any other things, then it is equal to the Bevin boys. And importance of Bevin boys we can find in Lady Hartog's India in Outline 1946. And scholars romanticize the achievement, not Indian but others, but Indian forget about it. Like this, India also forget air raid precaution women. And in that sense, you can say officially their number were less, but in Kolkata, Delhi, and Chennai, their number was large. Shivaji Roy Chaudhary wrote, as compared to cover 2 million men serving in the Indian Army, 1,15,000 women may seem quite less. But if we go by the unofficial number, it was very high. But the role of women was neglected not only in India but also in other countries. For example, if we go by the example of Canada, and as I quote, as the propaganda mill swung into the action, appealing to the women to send their men at war and to keep their task home, women volunteers organized hospital, nursing homes, and canteens. This was the same thing that is done by the Indian women, but importance is given much to the women of Europe. Even the women from Canada excluded. These were the topics which failed to receive attention. In that sense, we can say the women's bravery was unmatched as ARP women, but they received no target. We can simply say Indian women were the real heroes of war. But due to their colonial stigma, they failed to receive it, at least in case of India. If we go to the history, the participation in World War II, then women recruited in ambulance service, public emergency and rescue services, and in hospital, clinics and health centers during World War II. But they are not considered. Only the subjects which are important for the British or the West, they were given due importance. If we go by the real definition of ARP warden, they are sometimes called ARP volunteer. ARP means air raid precaution, and it becomes necessary part of defensive organization of any country which is open to air attack. It was a strategy to mount passive defense against air attack in with the aim was to minimize the consequence of attack from war. Their job was to take measures for safeguarding the civil population against the air attack. Famous critic Chandler explained the services of ARP as They were the wardens, the rescue, the stretcher party, the staff of the control center, and the messenger boys. The casualties service embarked the emergency of ambulance workers and the staff to the first job. In that sense, we can say most of the ARP warden, either it is male or female, they are introduced as he or him. Even the women are introduced as he or him. Despite it, they are largely forgotten. If we check Indian War Museum, that is in England, then we can have a picture of Indian women having on the preparation for war drills, and they are carrying the stretcher. They are wearing saris, but they are not important for them. And the things remain that most of the ARP praise is received by the British alone. If we check the rejection of them, then British alone had nearly 1.5 million active ARP warden during the war years. Ian D.F. Karaka, a famous war correspondent, noted a large amount of ARP, including women as nurses and doctors, in Chungking Diary, that is written in China, 1942. Again, another report of US Army Center of Military History, around 59,000 American nurses served in the American Nurse Corps. But these are totally hidden from the other things, at least from the eyes of critics. If we go with the Indian case, then how it is come, then the praise of Air Raid Precaution Women is in Gordon's famous book, Bengal Journey, that is published in 1945, and Lady Hartog's Indian Outline in the same year, 1945. Another two different journals, that is Indian Information 1949 and The Spectator 1944. They highlight unnumbered women of ARP in Bengal and Delhi. This way we can find that it is most important thing, and even the Red Cross, Ambulance Association, St. John Ambulance Brigade, Overseas Nursing Division, Bengal Presidency Council of Women, ARP Women Section, these were all part of it. But they were rejected. It does not mean that they were just rejected, rather they were misused by the British government. In that sense, we can say from 1700 to 905, officially Indian women are used as ARP women. Not officially, but as a sex slave. If we look at the world, then they criticize Japan over the concept of comfort women. But British and others forget their own crimes against Indian women. What they were doing the same. But Indian ARP are not looking that way that we have seen in the Chungking Diary, or against the case of Korean women, that Japan. Japan is criticized in unmatched length, but Indian women with whom the same thing happened as that of that Korean women or Chinese women, Nanking atrocities, but they are not in that sense. And the thing is that most of the women used by British under the guise of government jobs. This one can say that job was the only thing with which they democratize their violence against you. These women, although very powerful and strong, but they come from the poor family background. And in this way, it was easy for them to use as in that sense. But another view, it also has another view. Instead of glamorizing the women's contribution, most of the critics are focusing on rape, abduction, and crimes. Although it was inhuman, but It doesn't mean that only wrong thing happened with the women, which is highlight more in numbers, but praise is not there. Maximum things is given to the other things, and Stepson book in it says that it was their war to Canadian women in World War I, and critic note thousands of women were employed by military working at a variety of jobs such as motor transport work. Many went overseas as ambulance drivers, work in supply depot as trained nurses and nursing aides. And once women enlisted were serving at home front, they were urged to make specific contribution. So thus women also played important role in World War II, but much emphasis is given to the crimes against women, rape, abduction, and others. If we look at Mary Louise Roberts, J. Lilly, Miriam Grant's exhibit human treatment of women by the American Army, and similar works, that is an edited book by Sonja Maria Hagdet and Rochella G. Seidel that is titled Sexual Violence Against Jewish Women During the Holocaust. Again, it is defining Sedge and Oz, the legacy of comfort women of World War II. C. Sode, the comfort women, sexual violence and post-colonial memory in Korea and Japan. Hugh et al.'s book, Chinese Comfort Women, depicts the same thing. And even Iris Chang's The Rape of Nanking, Forgotten Holocaust of World War II. So these things are defining only the negative side, which was also inhuman. They must be defined in a larger detail, but there are things that good and positive side of it also. But most of the people wanted to show women as weak. If you want to show women weak, then show how male is inflicting crimes against them or torturing them, but keep their praiseworthy work aside. And this is all happened in World War II, especially in Air Raid Precaution Women. So the things that remain, that women never get the due status or due credit of their work. If there is any, then it is stolen by the male army people, and women remain praiseless in World War II, similar like that of World War I. It is their own effort that they get some name and fame, but the contribution of man is nothing, just to use them either as a comfort women or as a comfort women when they are working as air raid precaution women. So this is a dark history that need to be explored, and this article is related to this. So this is what we have for today. So with this, thank you.